This is possibly my favourite mod that I've ever done on this channel. This is the PS5 LED Controller Mod from Extreme Rate. It requires zero soldering and is fairly easy to install. Let me show you how I did it. This is the controller I'm going to be sacrificing today, so hopefully this goes well because I don't want to spend another £60 on one of these. I did think about doing this on the retro controller I made in a few videos back, but I didn't really want to ruin the aesthetic of it, so I thought I'd buy a black one to do for this video. This kit is pretty cool. It comes with some tools like a spudger and a mini screwdriver, and all of the clear buttons, along with the PCB which is responsible for holding and controlling the LEDs. Aside from the Xbox 360 controller, this is probably the easiest controller that I've found to take apart. Most of the disassembly process is just unclipping plastic tabs, and all the screws use the same heads. Although they are different lengths, so you're still going to need to keep track of which screws went where in the controller. It's cool of Extreme Rate to include a screwdriver, although I kinda prefer my iFixit kit, so I'll be using that today. The first screws we have to undo are the ones on the bottom of the controller, and also the two under the top bumper buttons. After that, it's just prying off the back piece and getting access to the internals. And this is the inside of the controller. I know the PS4 version of this kit had LEDs on the triggers too, but this kit doesn't seem to include that. I assume it's something to do with the redesign with the haptic triggers and them just being generally difficult to take apart. Inside the controller there are more screws to remove and some ribbon cables. One of these at the bottom being the microphone, which I've been told is a very delicate ribbon cable, so if you're following along, make sure to be very careful and take your time with any ribbon cables inside of the controller. Once all the ribbon cables are removed, we can remove the whole motherboard assembly from the controller. We need to do this to get access to the buttons, as we need to remove the old original black ones to make room for the new clear ones for the LEDs to shine through. This part's actually surprisingly easy. The buttons only seem to go in one way, and Extreme Rate have done a perfect job of completely replicating these buttons, so it's really easy to remove and reinstall new ones. And here's our first look at the LED Flex PCB. At this point we also want to remove the old joysticks and install the new clear ones. I particularly like these clear ones because you can actually see through into the joystick even when the controller's assembled. Just a nice little touch there. I like to describe this kit as kind of the middleman of the controller. There's a contact which connects the main board to the buttons. All the LED kit does is sit in between those and steal power and data and everything it needs from the main board. This piece is attached to the PCB and it's how we give power to the mod kit. This little piece of wiring here is kind of what intercepts the battery. How this works is we plug the PCB, the new Flexi PCB, the LED one, into the port on the motherboard where the battery would usually go, and then the battery connects to the new PCB. This ensures that the Flex PCB and the motherboard get power as usual. And that's really it. It's a surprisingly easy install. I'd say it's fiddly, but it's not difficult. As soon as the LEDs light up and we've routed the cables so they don't get trapped anywhere, that's really it. We can just reassemble the controller. I'm really happy with how this mod looks already. Remembering the internal screws and also the ones on the outside of the controller. I actually lost one of my screws, but luckily Extreme Rate just provides loads of spare screws from the controllers, so that kind of sorted you out here for any worst case scenario. Okay, so now it's installed. How do we actually use it? Well, to switch between colours, you hold the up on the D-pad and the square button for 5 seconds to go into the selection menu. And then you click right on the D-pad to go through the colours, and then once again to go back and set the colour, up on the D-pad and the square button for 5 seconds. To turn off the mod completely, you hold the up on the D-pad and the right on the D-pad, and the square button for 5 seconds, and the same to turn it back on. I'd like to say a big thank you to Extreme Rate for sending me this kit free of charge. You can use my discount code TMS for 10% off anything on their website. I definitely recommend giving them a check out. They have some really good products and they're my favourite company to work with. The mod really wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be to install. A lot of it is kind of plug and play, and I think because it's been designed so well, it feels like it's supposed to be in there, if that makes sense. Let me know in the comments whether this is something you try out for yourself, and once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.